We will have Joshua in our country in February. Then there is the big fight, one of the great fights
in the world. Like, you can't sit around and wait for Fury. The Usyk fight is not materializing, and I don't think any fans want to see that. So, in a way, this could be Joshua's final fight or final meaningful fight. It's going to happen in 5 weeks.
There's a huge opportunity for enormous amounts of money to be generated around a fight that really has no integrity behind it in terms of as a fight, but in terms as a media spectacle and entertainment opportunity.
Turki Alalshikh voiced frustration over Anthony Joshua entertaining the idea of facing Jake Paul, calling it a baffling move for a fighter of his stature. He hinted that a massive Joshua-headlined event is being lined up for next February. Though he avoided revealing who the other man in the ring might be, many assume it could be Tyson Fury, but Alalshikh offered no confirmation, fueling speculation. He also mentioned that Joshua already has a bout locked in for 2026, underscoring how carefully his long-term schedule is managed.
And Anthony Joshua this year, do you think?
As a fan, of course, I want to see it.
Want to see it.
Yeah, as a fan, but you need first of all to be sure they are focusing and they still have it.
Eddie Hearn, who has steered Joshua's career for more than a decade, responded to the situation with a blend of enthusiasm and restraint. He insists that any major step Joshua takes must fit into the strategic blueprint designed alongside Turki Alalshikh, the powerhouse figure driving boxing's new era. Hearn views Alalshikh as the architect behind blockbuster matchups, especially the long-awaited Joshua versus Fury showdown. He believes Joshua should avoid decisions rooted in internet buzz, even if a Jake Paul bout promises big money. In Hearn's eyes, major business moves demand coordination and purpose, not spur-of-the-moment hype.
You know, I mean, when this fight was first mentioned by Jake Paul, I kind of laughed and thought that'd be nice, wouldn't it? And then, you know, meetings with His Excellency last week, who I think realises the commercial size of that fight and that opportunity. So if Jake Paul was mad enough to do it, I think Anthony would probably say yes as well and do everybody a favour and end it all, you know, for Mr. Paul in boxing. So, like I said, not really a fight we've been targeting, but if it's presented to us, why not?
John Fury, known for his unfiltered opinions, brushed off the idea that Jake Paul could legitimately defeat Anthony Joshua. To him, the size and strength gap is so severe that a Paul victory would immediately look suspicious. Fury argues that Joshua's physical tools are overwhelming, and if the outcome somehow favored Paul, fans would be justified in questioning whether the fight was genuine. His comments tap into a broader anxiety among boxing traditionalists. The sport's reputation is fragile, and crossover spectacles must be handled with caution.
That work. Anthony Joshua could knock Jake Paul out with a dick. So if it goes any other way, you know. You give me a headline there, by the way. If it goes any other way, you know it's fucking fixed, don't you? Enough said.
The debate intensifies when outside voices join the conversation. Jamie O'Hara, famous for his blunt sports commentary, openly challenges the logic of allowing Jake Paul anywhere near a ring with Joshua. He argues that while Paul has earned attention as a celebrity-turned-fighter, his resume falls far below the standard required to challenge an elite former heavyweight king. To O'Hara, the very idea of this matchup shows how fame, social influence, and entertainment value are beginning to overshadow rankings and merit.
Because Anthony Joshua is a two-time world champion. Jake Paul's a YouTuber and doesn't deserve the right to be in a ring with Anthony.
Well, don't buy the fight then.
It's dangerous. I mean, it's a dangerous fight. We saw what Anthony Joshua had done to Francis Ngannou. This is a fight.
I know, but what I'm saying is...
People are going in there, their health is at risk.
But the only reason they're doing it...
Put someone in there in a ring...
I know, Jay.
And you say, the only reason we're doing it is for money. That don't sit right with me.
Fine, then don't buy it.
We've seen boxers die who got punched in the face. Fine. You want to make some money. Eddie Hearn, all that matchroom, they're going to make a fortune, right? Fine. Jake Paul's going to make a fortune. Anthony Joshua makes a fortune. I'm worried for Jake Paul getting seriously hurt. You are putting an amateur boxer in a ring with a two-time world champion.
Sonnen adds another dimension by questioning whether the entire situation is even legitimate. He suggests the hype exploded far faster than any official information could support. A classic example of modern media spinning rumor into perceived reality. Sona notes that Joshua has always represented discipline, order, and professionalism. Jumping suddenly into a novelty-driven matchup would run against the identity he has built over the years. His doubts aren't about the fighters themselves, but about an online culture that turns speculation into worldwide debate.
Done, right? Isn't that what we were all told? And I had reached out to Jake directly, but he didn't get back to me. I did get a response, but it was like, you know the response where somebody's like buying some time, or they just want to acknowledge, like they give you a receipt. I'm in receipt of your text message. They can give you an emoji or something like this, or sometimes there's even the automatic. I'm trying to remember what I got, but you can get like the automatic, I'll call you later. You know those? So even though I had said, hey, I'm looking for a confirmation of this fight, and he did respond, as I reflect back on that, it's like, he didn't respond confirming the fight. So who did confirm the fight? So I went to Helwani, and Helwani thought that it was confirmed, but he was a little lighter in the language than what I thought I remember hearing. And there's a number of boxing guys just saying, hey, that's not gonna happen. And they had a few details, one of which was being Florida. And the Florida Commission would probably be open to something like this, particularly under the clause of exhibition, and then we'd all have to kind of hear, well, what are those rules and what are those stipulations? But that's reasonable to work with. But we haven't been able to get a confirmation from the Florida Commission, and now we're actually getting boxing guys on the inner circle. We're hearing from some British guys, from some fellow comrades to Joshua that said he wouldn't do that fight. He just wouldn't do that fight. That people would lose respect for him. That he has carried British boxing. This was one guy talking, but the guy said that Joshua has carried British boxing for 2 decades. And that while carrying British boxing on his back, if he was to go over and do a spoof fight against a YouTuber, now I don't look at Jake Paul that way. I look at him as a badass. I understand how greatly he is outmatched. I understand the lack of experience in comparison to Joshua. Believe me, I get it. But I don't dismiss him as a YouTuber, right? Look at him as a guy that went to the distance with Tommy Fury, not for nothing.
Ron Woodley, speaking from experience in both triumph and defeat, offers a more even-handed perspective. He acknowledges that self-belief can flip expectations, and fighters who trust their abilities can shock the world. Woodley warns Joshua not to dismiss Paul outright, despite the gaps in skill, size, and pedigree. While Joshua is the overwhelming favorite, combat sports are unpredictable, and ignoring that reality can be dangerous. His viewpoint serves as a reminder that no fight is ever guaranteed.
I mean, to be honest, when a fighter has belief in themselves, I never took Jake lightly. A lot of guys like, oh, he a YouTuber, he a Disney kid, but he does a good job of putting the smoke and mirrors up. He doesn't have anything limiting him from training, nutrition, training partners, coaches, and when you believe in yourself, and you're an athlete, and you can put those hours into the gym, that's a dangerous person to go against. And you look at Anthony, he may be taking them lightly, When you have somebody that's smaller than you, that's more agile than you and moving around, we don't know how Anthony's going to deal with that fight. Of course, with the boxing, the skill and experience has got to go with Joshua. But Jake
look what AJ done to Francis Ngannou, right? I'll put that to you. Do you not see that happening the same way with Jake Paul?
I mean, anybody can get caught with a punch. I got caught with a punch. Francis got hit with some shit, to be honest. So we didn't see a full fight. We didn't see, an exchange. We didn't see like we saw with Tyson Fury where he, lasted most of the fight. So it's hard to judge off of that one. And they're such different fighters and such different sizes and styles.
Analysts shift the conversation to technical concerns. Specifically, the major size difference between Joshua and Paul, given the extreme weight disparity. Many argue the bout should be treated as an exhibition to protect both fighters. Instead, plans appear to frame it as a full professional contest with all rules enforced. These so-called query conditions refer to contract details, weight limits, glove size, number of rounds, officiating standards, and safety terms. Presenting such an uneven matchup as a standard professional fight has left purists uneasy, believing that the sport's core principles should never be bent for spectacle.
News, and I can't believe this is leaving my mouth. Anthony Joshua is going to be fighting Jake Paul. Now, this isn't even an exhibition bout. It's going to be on Netflix. It's going to be in Miami. It's going to be in December. And Jake Paul, if Anthony Joshua loses to Jake Paul, then that will not make any sort of sense whatsoever. Because on an athletic level, an experience level, a skill level, Anthony Joshua is several levels above Jake Paul. So surely this is going to be an exhibition bout. Surely this is going to be, there's surely going to be some shenanigans here. Because if Jake Paul gets into a real boxing match with Anthony Joshua, he's going to get absolutely destroyed. Like, there's no point in me, like, I don't even need to break it down. What do you want me to break down here? And this is an easy payday for Anthony Joshua. And you know what? Fair play to him. People are going to criticise Anthony Joshua for fighting Jake Paul, but if he's really going to be fighting Jake Paul, which I don't think he is, then bro, he can do whatever he wants to him, literally. But then he just imagine. Oh, it's just crazy to think about. Fair play to Jake Paul though, if this is a real boxing match. If I see exhibition attached to this, we'll know it's a sham. However, if I see that this is a real fight, we're in